Sorry I'm late. I had some technical difficulties. Um, the meeting is called to order for November 20th. Uh, Next business meeting will be at 12 p.m. noon, Thursday, December 3rd, 2020. And it will be a virtual hearing via WebEx. The next commission hearing will be 4 p.m. Thursday, December 17th, 2020. And it will also be a WebEx. Next item is swearing in of the staff. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony for the commission this evening? If so, please state your name and your position with the city.
Connie Torbecka, Assistant Historic Preservation Officer with the City of Columbus. I do.
Okay, thank you. Will there be anybody?
No, just me.
If not, okay, then we'll have the of the commissioners. We have present. Jackie is Barton is present. Aaron Prosser is present. And is Joseph McCabe present? I don't see him.
He'll just be a little late.
I believe he's not present currently.
He'll be a little late.
Okay, thank you. When he comes, we will make note that he's arrived. And my name is Clyde Henry, and I am also present. This item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes for the Thursday, October 15th meeting. Do I hear a motion?
This is Commissioner Stewart Gibney, and I motion to approve the minutes as noted.
Is there a second?
Jackie Barton, second.
Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Or I'm sorry, I need to call a roll. Stewart Gibney?
Aye.
Jackie Barton?
Aye.
Aaron Prosser?
Aye.
And Clyde Henry also votes aye. Minutes are approved. Is there anything on the public forum this evening?
No public forum, but we need to approve the staff approvals, please.
Okay. The application I'm sorry, I'm out of order. Is there a motion to approve the staff approvals?
Jackie Barton, motion to approve the staff approval.
Is there a second?
Aaron Prosser, I'll second.
Okay. Are there any questions on the staff approvals? Okay. Then we'll Aaron.
Yes. Yes.
Jackie Barton.
Yes.
Stewart Gibney.
Yes.
And Clyde Henry also votes yes. The motion carries. Application number 1 has been moved to staff approval. So we are up to item number 2, a new application for existing project. Connie, will you take us through that?
Yes, and we will have, let's see, I think Nick Munoz and Doug Boyer will be present for that. This is a request for action on the landscape hardscape project, final landscape plan for an ongoing project that included demolition of 4 commercial buildings with facades and site elevations remaining and construction of a new hotel and parking garage. Staff recommends approval of the landscaping plan, including paving materials, plantings, and fencing. Basis of that is that landscaping materials should be of high quality and durability and be compatible with the character of the subject building and surrounding buildings. 3116.13 states that a parking lot should have solid fencing to prevent headlight and unsightly scene interference with the enjoyment of the neighborhood in general. The applicant is proposing a mix of sea green juniper shrubs, cherry trees, and elm trees to provide the screening. The proposed 6-foot-high fence appears appropriate in this particular location near I-670. And we also had some additional paving materials that were submitted. And let's see what else was submitted. And the bench, a circular bench that's shown on the drawings will be just a horizontal bench. And I think that's it for that. Something in
Okay, and I believe we have two people this evening. Chip, do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this evening? If so, raise the right hand, say I do, state your name and your relationship to the project.
Nick Munoz, project manager. I do.
And are you the only one speaking this evening?
I think Doug Boyer is speaking as well.
Doug, are you there? I don't see him, so why don't you go ahead if you want to.
Yeah, Clyde, I can see him. We couldn't hear him. He is on video. Doug is on video. Just FYI.
Oh, okay. Is he on mute or?
Not sure why we can't hear him. He's not on mute though.
Okay, Nick, why don't you go ahead and if you want to add something in that.
Sure.
You can swear in.
Sure. Well, yeah, I can go ahead and give a little bit of a presentation here. The AC Hotel, we've been in front of you guys a number of times. This is currently the proposal for landscaping to kind of finish out the project. We went before Downtown Commission yesterday, since we are in dual district, and received approval from them. And we are just, following up here. The package includes landscaping screening of the surface parking area to the west of the hotel, and streetscape improvements along the Park Street facade and Spruce Street elevation, as well as tenant patio and pocket park that we've been talking about at the north end of the site. And as well as some, on the bottom of this page, some improvements at the main hotel entrance as well.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, you have questions or comments?
Was the ivy removed from the proposal after Connie's commentary?
This is Doug Boyer with Edge, the landscape architect for the project.
Okay. Yeah, we can hear you now. Testimony for the commission. If so, I do state your name to the project.
Doug Boyer, a landscape architect. I do.
Okay, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, we're happy to remove the ivy that was staked to the walls from any historic walls on the project.
Cool.
Any other questions? Concerns? Okay, are we ready to call the question? Or no, I guess we need a motion. Can somebody make a motion?
This is Commissioner Gibney. I've got a quick question about the alternative bid fencing. Is that what that dotted line is on looks like the third sheet in?
Yes. this dotted line was because there has been early analysis of a separate building being located in this site. It has not been formalized at this time, and so we are proceeding without that bid alternate. These plants will be installed as shown on the plan.
Okay. Thank you.
Chair Henry, please let the record reflect that I've arrived to the meeting.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Joseph McCabe has arrived at the meeting. Welcome. Any other questions or concerns on this one? Okay, if not, would somebody like to make a motion?
Jackie Barton, move to approve HR 20-11-016 as proposed.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay. Call the vote. Or is there any other questions or concerns? Otherwise, we'll call the vote.
Just that was Commissioner Gibney.
This is Nick. Sorry, I was just going to ask. I think you wanted to maybe add that condition about the ivy.
Is the
currently
ivy still in the
reflected
proposal, Nick?
Yeah, it's on the drawing, but if we could just remove it. Okay.
Okay, so thank you. Would like to amend that proposal to say, would like to approve HR 20-11-016 with the condition that there would be no ivy attached to any historic walls.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did somebody second on that already?
Stuart did.
Okay, Stuart, is that change okay with you?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. Other questions or concerns? Okay, we'll start then. Joseph McCabe,
Yes.
Aaron Prosser,
Yes.
Jackie Bart,
Yes.
Stuart Gibney,
Yes.
and I also vote yes. Motion carries. Thank you for coming in this evening. Good luck with your project. We have item number 3, 2043 and 2057 Wade Deck Avenue in the Indianola Forest Historical District.
Okay, so this is for a project that was started prior to review and approval. Some of the porches started to be removed. So this is to remove existing roofs and partial roof of the first floor overhang, concrete porch floors and steps on the 3 front porches, only 3 of them, and rebuild per the submitted drawings. Comments at the November 5th business meeting reflected general support as the proposal appears to be a rebuilding of the porches like for like. Staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Anywhere aluminum or vinyl wrap has been added, such as fascia, soffits, ceilings, will need to be painted wood with no wrap. The existing privacy railings appear to be original horizontal wood boards. If so, the new porch railings need to match the profile and the exposure of those boards. And the diagonal lattice skirting is not original, so square lattice would be more appropriate.
Okay, thank you. And I believe there's someone from the ownership tonight, Edwin Davis.
I think we have Daryl Allen and Louis Rodriguez.
Okay. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this evening? If so, raise your right hand and say, I do. State your name and your association with the project.
Daryl Allen, general contractor and builder. I do.
And was there somebody else?
The architect is not present.
That's we can add him. Is there anything that you would like to? You're not on camera. You need to turn your camera on. That you say you are.
Here we go.
I still can't see you. There you go.
Oh,
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, just was hoping this would get approved so I can actually start and get that job completed. I'm not the one that started the project. As a matter of fact, I'm the one that shut it down. So that's all.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Commissioners, questions, concerns?
Just a point of clarification, because Connie did talk about the aluminum wrapping, and is that part of the proposal or is that not part of the proposal at this point?
Was that question to me?
Yes, please.
Please.
Well, I mean, it's whatever, I'm allowed to put back or, I mean, I'll follow anything you guys tell me on this, on the finishes, on the wraps, the fascia caps. And, so again, I'm not the one that was over there doing that work. So I'm the one that called for the architect and got him out there and to do this right.
Okay. Other questions, concerns?
Just what I'm thinking here, Clyde, is that the details are pretty significant. The owner's sort of headed in the right direction here. I think I would be supportive that if we approve it, that there's at least a follow-up with revision to the drawings submitted to staff that reflect no use of aluminum or metal or vinyl soffits as stipulated. That either would or I would be acceptable to test case of hardy plank in this scenario. For fascia and soffits, so that we can at least have staff verify that the correct materials are being used.
Okay. In agreement with that. So, Joseph, would you put that in the motion? Do you have a?
Sure. Let me just reference here. So in the case of HR-20-11-017-20432057 Waldeck, move to approve as presented this evening, utilizing the drawings presented by the owner. However, owner or contractor is to provide in follow-up prior to commencing with further work drawings to staff that reflect either the use of wood materials throughout, elimination of any aluminum wraps or metal wraps and or vinyl, as well as approving equal materials in hardy plank as a substitute or a test case in this scenario.
Okay, is there a second?
I'll second. Aaron Press.
Okay, we have a second. Is there any further? If not, let's go ahead and get.
I had a quick question that staff brought up about the solid wood skirting and railing. As looking through the drawings, I saw more of a open railing on the proposed drawings. And I just want to make sure that if we find that those are original as staff mentioned, that we maintain those in the new construction.
Add that to your motion.
Sure, I would move to amend my motion that if original railings are found and are repairable and retainable, that the owner work in conjunction with staff to repair and restore rather than replace as possible.
or replace in kind.
Correct.
Okay, is the second okay with that?
Yes.
Okay, the second's okay with that. Any other questions, concerns? Okay, then let's vote. Jackie Barton,
Yes.
Aaron Prosser,
Yes.
Joseph McCabe,
Yes.
Stuart Gibney,
Yes.
and Clyde Henry also votes yes. So the motion carries. Good luck to you, and I'm glad it was brought to our attention before it got built incorrectly.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you guys very
That would have
much.
been a okay.
Thank you guys.
Okay. We are down to item 4. 1640 Bryden Road. Will you take us through that? Unmute.
Oops. Yeah, sorry about that. I got it. Some work has been completed. And as I let you know after the business meeting, the photos that we had at that time were of the previous shingles. So a combination slate and asphalt roof was removed. The IKO Cambridge charcoal gray architectural shingles were installed. They're not on the approved list and are not of the correct shape. Box gutters have been roofed over, but the previous photos showed that they had already been covered over in the previous shingling roofing job, but that had also not been approved. So the proposed work now is to remove existing vinyl siding in the gables of the brick house and install vinyl siding, remove fascia, soffit, and freeze board, and metal wrap and install metal and install new gutter system also. The applicant has indicated that since they understand that the wrap won't be allowed, new wrap won't be allowed, they probably will just not be doing that work at all at this time. Let's see here. So the installed IKO Cambridge architecture shingles have an irregular angled shape, which is not consistent with the shape of slate. Ridge roll has not been installed. And as I said, photos indicate that the box gutters were covered during a previous roofing project and have been covered again. Recommend installation of a shingle from the approved roofing list. Shingle should be removed to examine the condition of the box gutters before it's decided what to do there. Any existing metal siding or wrap should be left as is or repaired. If removed entirely, existing wood siding and trim should be retained and painted. That's it.
Clyde, you're on mute now. You need to unmute.
Sorry. Anyone representing the owners this evening? I don't see anybody. I don't see anybody listed here. Commissioners, questions, discussion?
Is Connie saying something additional? Maybe she's also muted.
Oh,
Sorry, I do see him here. Ben Huckel,
Ben,
he's muted.
Ben, unmute yourself.
How's it going?
We need.
He's unmuted.
Is he here?
Can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yeah, do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony? Evening. If so, say I do, and association with the project.
I do. Ben Hukel, general contractor.
We also need
Okay,
to see you, Ben.
yeah,
Do I do that or do you guys do that? I thought you guys did that.
I think you have to do it.
Let me see
Sure,
right
you
here.
make sure
If
your
it'll let me.
camera's turned
Yep,
on.
here it goes. Here it
There
goes.
you go.
Okay,
Thank
I
you.
do. Ben
Okay,
Hukel, general contractor.
good. Thank you. Commissioners, questions, concerns?
I'm
Oh,
actually having a little, oh, I'm sorry, this is Jackie. I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding what the proposal is that we're ruling on, because we have the proposed work list says remove existing vinyl siding and install vinyl siding. And then we have under the recommendations, a roofing recommendation. So are we ruling on a vinyl siding request or is that off the table?
All of
I
that
think,
stuff is off the table at this point
yeah.
for us.
Okay.
We were kind of under the assumption that with what from speaking with the House of Hope directly that we weren't in this district, the HRC area, and so we proposed them the scope of work that you guys now see. They were okay with it. We once work started and we were in the process of getting applications, then that's when all of this came about. So we just threw that out. Now our only our all we are asking is we understand that the shingle that was installed was not the correct one. So we're going to remove that and install one off of your approved shingle list and then check the box gutters in the process and that's it.
And
So the
additionally,
proposal,
you will do the flashings and the ridge rolls and other things that
Yeah,
are
yes,
historically
sir.
important.
Yep, we'll put the ridge roll on with the tenor red or whatever the red ridge roll, and any flashings to be the approved colors you guys accept. Yes.
so this
Yeah,
is
'cause it,
purely a correction. The proposal is purely to correct the incorrect shingle and check the box gutters and complete the roofing project.
Correct.
To repeat. Okay.
Okay.
No more.
Any other concerns? Make a motion on that? Who wants to give it a try?
I can give it a shot. Or Stuart can.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
1645 Bryden Road, HR 20-18. Recommend approval of a proposal to remove the current shingles and replace them with shingles from the approved list with staff review. And including all flashing ridge lines and other appropriate complete roofing package, and also to include checking the box gutters when that work is done.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
second, Joe McCabe.
Okay, we have a motion and we have a second.
I
Any
Yeah, I would actually like to actually suggest an amendment to the original motion, just that as box gutters are rediscovered or unveiled during the process, that the owner and contractor notify staff and staff be allowed to come out and or see or witness, that the condition of the box gutters and if they're rebuildable. And that gets documented as part of this process. And then secondarily, also that as part of this motion, we would allow staff any approval of any changes necessary to reconstruct box gutters should they be rebuildable or usable, and modifications necessary to take place at that time, because obviously they'll have a very tight time span of being able take off, show, and then determine a path forward. But I would put power in staff's hands to be able to authorize the correct work path on rebuilding those box gutters.
Okay, is that okay with you, Jackie? Okay, and who was the second on that?
Joe
Joe.
McCabe.
Okay, so I assume it's okay with you. So,
Yes.
okay. Any other questions or concerns? If not, we will go ahead and call the vote. Aaron Prosser,
Yes.
Joseph McCabe,
Yes.
Stuart Gibney,
Yes.
Jackie Barton,
Yes.
and Claude Henry also votes yes. So motion carries. Ben, thank you for coming in and for working with staff to work this out, and continue to work with Connie with this, and it'll be a good project. And I guess in the future, just check to make sure that you're in the district or not. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a difficult lesson.
So we
I
had some connections at the city department that kind of led us in the wrong direction to begin with before we were even able to get in contact with Connie. And once we got in contact with Connie, everything kind of smoothed out, and we knew which way we had to go. So we appreciate it too on our part as well. So we'll get it all squared away for you guys.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your cooperation. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
And best of luck to you. We are up to item 5, moving right along here. 715 South Ohio Avenue. Connie, will you take us through this?
Okay, so this is a request for action. And so an application for installation of new gutters and downspouts and a security door was submitted. A staff approval for gutters has been issued. A security door was installed prior to issuance of that COA. This metal security door as installed is inconsistent with the Columbus Register of Historic Properties architectural guidelines, which say do not install heavy ornate metal security grill doors that were not originally used. So would recommend denial to retain the door as installed.
Okay, and I believe we have the owners present this evening.
Yes.
If so, make sure you turn your on and your mic. And do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this evening? I do. State your name and your relationship to the project.
Hello.
Nicholas.
Can you see me, hear me?
I can. Okay, we
Great.
It is Renee Hallmark or Hallman here, or just you?
She's not, just myself.
Okay, then say I do. State your name and your relationship to the project.
I do, Nicholas Traverso, and the owner of the property.
Great, thank you. Is there anything you want to add that the presentation?
Yeah, I guess I would just say that we received it. We received the door from another neighbor in the property, or in the neighborhood, from another property in the neighborhood. I mean, we see these doors all over the neighborhood, and I know that the neighborhood hasn't been a historic district for the longest of time, but like many of these doors you can tell are new. We purchased the homes 8 months ago. We've been in the neighborhood for less than a year. Like we're exactly what you guys want in the neighborhood. Like we bought a renovated home. We're maintaining what we can. We're keeping the box gutters. We're what you want to see. I guess we're just asking for a door. Like that's it, considering that we see these all over the neighborhood. I mean, there are many other houses in our neighborhood that are boarded up, falling apart, porches falling off. Like our house it's a brick home. It's in fantastic shape. We plan to maintain that, and all we're asking for is a door.
Your house looks beautiful. And the doors that you see in the neighborhood may have been added before it became a historical neighborhood. And ultimately, the long-term design is to bring the entire neighborhood back to the way you want to see it. And there may also be the possibility that there are doors in the neighborhood that have been installed later. If so, they're in violation of the building code. Oftentimes they end up getting reported, and then people have to remove those doors. We've had people that have had to remove doors, windows, retaining walls, you name it. Are applying before than taking it off. However, that's what we're deciding this evening. So, commissioners, do you have any questions or concerns on this one?
I would just
No?
second. Yeah, I mean, I would just second what you said, Clyde.
Okay. Would somebody like to make a motion on this? Remember, made in the affirmative.
I'll make the motion to approve HR 20-10-019 715 South Ohio Avenue. Request for the security door on the front facade.
Okay, is there a second?
Second, Commissioner Gibney.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? If not, we will move to vote.
No.
Jackie Barton? Aaron Prosser?
No.
And Joseph McCabe?
No.
And Clyde Henry votes no. I know it's difficult when your item doesn't pass, but it is really see, and that door not have been the historical door put on in the neighborhood. If you're concerned about security, you can do anything on the inside that doesn't show on the outside. But it's the idea that the neighborhood, as it develops, will return to its historical character. Thank you for coming in, and as you continue with your home, we may be seeing you again. Best of luck to you.
Chairman Henry, before we move
Yes.
on, can we note both section of the code 3116.11 subsection 12, which has to do with standards for alteration and their appropriateness, and also page 66 of the architectural guidelines, which specifically refers to metal security grill doors for our ruling.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Thank you. On to item 693 Wilson Avenue.
Okay, so this is for modification to approved garage doors. The request is to retain the owner-built sliding garage door and the craftsman-style pedestrian door on the yard side of the newly constructed garage per the submitted photos. So COA HR 2006028 approved construction of a new detached garage with an overhead garage door and pedestrian door facing the house and yard. The doors installed are inconsistent with the COA. Most historic garage doors were lift-up or out-swinging doors. Sliding doors were used on larger carriage houses and garages. However, the design of the existing sliding wood door is consistent with historic garages. as shown in photos on page 86 of the guidelines. So staff is okay with that door. And previously I talked at the business meeting about the Craftsman door not being appropriate. But I had a little bit of a change of heart about that. So a half light or 4-panel or 5 horizontal panel door was typical for historic garages, but also a door such as the one installed may have been used on a garage dating from the 1920s. I started thinking about the garage on the house that I grew up in, which was built in 1926, and thinking that that's when a lot of garages were built. So even if a house was built earlier, a garage that was built might reflect the style of a 1920s garage. So I'm a little conflicted on that one. I'm not sure, just something to think about. And also, as Commissioner Barton said, this is a new garage. So should it have a historic looking door, or should it look modern? In that sense, should it be just, a flat door with no glass? I'm a little conflicted on this one.
Is someone from the owner here, James Washburn?
Yes, he is here.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission? So say I do, state your name and your association with the project. Make sure your camera and your mic is on.
He's on mute, so do not see him.
Okay, James, unmute yourself.
There.
He's unmuted now.
Hi, sorry, I had everyone on silent.
Okay.
Can you start your camera?
Camera on? I don't.
No, it's not.
Okay, make sure your camera's on. The law requires that we can recognize your voice or that we see you, the record.
Can you see me?
I cannot. Can anybody else?
Yes, I can see James now.
Okay, that's fine. I don't.
Okay. Yeah.
James, do you want to add anything else to the presentation?
I actually missed some of that. I was doing a little bit of work, but if there's any questions, I can answer them. But really, nothing to add. It is in the backyard. Can't see it from the road. Tried to, make it look pretty good there in the backyard. So that's really all I have to add, unless there's any questions.
Okay. Commissioners, any comments? Do you have any questions for Mr. Washburn? Anybody want to make a motion?
I can make a motion. This is Jackie Barton, an application HR-20-10-020. Move to approve the request to retain the sliding garage door and the pedestrian door on the yard side of the newly constructed garage per the submitted photos.
And is there a second on that?
Second.
I'll recognize Stuart Givney. And
I would like to hear why, is it because you agree with what I said, or is there just for future applications?
I think in this case, Connie, I actually really support your standpoint, which is the more I thought about it in my time of having lived on Bryden Road and having studied some of the maps myself, for example, that was a district of the city where a lot of people in that neighborhood were early pioneers of owning a car, with hence driving park was nearby where they would take the cars out for a test track drive. And in this case, there is a number of times when you look at the maps, the garages did come later and come in about 10 or 15 years after the house. I think you're completely on cue. Secondarily, some of the transitional garages from even sort of as, horses and carriages and pulled devices were moving out and early motorized devices coming in had a lot of the similar sliding doors. I think your comments are completely relevant. I think the architecture works for being completely relevant as long as it's a new garage. It's going to speak to being a new garage. Contextually, I don't think it's going to offend any existing architecture that's in that neighborhood.
I'll just add, I wrote in my notes that I didn't have super strong feelings either way about this one, because I think that we approve a number of new garages that are very vanilla, new looking, that don't really speak to a historic vernacular. And so as you were thinking about all the things that you and Joe just said, I think there's relevance to the historical aesthetic in that conversation, whereas sometimes when we're approving sort of the vanilla new aesthetic, we're kind of stepping completely away from any kind of conversation visually about what a historic garage might have had to say in the backyard. So for me, I think that this is a comfortably appropriate thing to leave in the yard side of the garage.
Okay. I would like to add, in the future, if you make any alterations that are not on the approved, get approval, because we have to look at these in, would we have approved it that way or not? And if it comes down to no, we would not have approved it, then it has to be removed. And sometimes people get upset when they have to take windows a building or remove paint or take down a retaining wall and lots of other expensive things. But you take your chances. In this case, you've
We haven't voted yet.
Yeah, we haven't voted yet, so we'll see. Any other questions? If we're going to go ahead and vote. Joseph McCabe,
Yes.
Aaron Prosser,
Yes.
Jackie Barton, Stuart Gibney,
Yes.
and I will also vote yes. So it carried. You got lucky. It's a nice looking garage. We feel it's appropriate. Good luck, and thank you for coming in this evening.
Thank you. Thank you for your consideration. I appreciate that, and we'll follow the guidelines next time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. We're up to item number 7, 380 East Town Street. Connie, will you take us through that?
You're muted, Connie.
Thanks, sorry. So it's to install a new 6-foot-high wrought iron fence along the west side of the property to match the design on the front and east side, increase the size of the existing central circular feature, install gold dust gravel there, and to install new plantings. The proposed landscape design is similar to the existing landscape, with the addition of a gravel seating area and new plantings. And while 6-foot-high wrought iron fencing is generally not approved along front or side yards, 6-foot-high fencing is appropriate at this particular location due to an existing adjacent surface parking lot. Recommend approval of the landscape hardscape plan and new fencing as submitted. a drawing or cut sheet for the new fence to be submitted to Historic Preservation Office staff prior to installation. That's it. Thank you.
Clyde, I think you're muted.
I believe the owners are here this evening. If so, raise your right hand. Before the commission this evening. If so, say I do. State your name, your association with the project. Make sure your camera and mic are on.
Hi, everybody. Can you see me?
Yes.
Yes, I see you
Sweeney.
now.
My name is Mark Sweeney. Nice to meet y'all. And I do swear. I swear a lot.
Okay,
Actually.
and you are owner?
Yes, I am.
Okay, is Abigail also here?
She is. She's under the weather, so she's resting in the other room.
Okay, so it'll just be you speaking then.
That's correct.
That's fine. Is there anything you want to add?
No, we're new to downtown. I've got two sons, and this house, although it is beautiful, there's no place in the back or in the front to sit and enjoy the outside. So we thought we might take the opportunity to make it more like a home. And
Okay, thank you. Or questions for Mark this evening?
Joe McCabe here. I would actually just simply like to make a move to approve HR-20-11-021 380 East Town Street as presented this evening, and for the record, noting that approval of the 6-foot fence would be because of the specific special condition that exists at this property of having a parking lot at the side of the property which the owner does not own or cannot control, so it does not provide screening or it creates an unusual circumstance. And secondarily, if staff has recommended that a cut sheet and specific details of the fence be provided to staff for staff approval prior to installation.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second. Aaron.
Okay, and we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? If not, we're going to call the question.
Yes.
Aaron Prosser.
Yes.
Joseph McCabe.
Yes.
Stuart Gibney.
Yes.
And Clyde Henry also votes yes. You have a beautiful house, wonderful neighborhood. Thank you for coming in, and your motion passed.
thanks, everyone. Appreciate it. Hope to see y'all again soon.
Okay, we'll see you. Thank you. We are on to number 1580 Brighton Road. Connie, would take us through that. Connie, you're on mute.
So this is the one that there's the same name for two, Daryl Allen, and I think he's the one I was talking to before, and he was having trouble getting on. So I do not see him present. I don't see him. So
Do you want to wait on this then, and we can come back to it?
we could. I think it's going to be, I kind of doubt that he's going to get on, but maybe we would discuss this anyway, just so they have that record. And we could wait to do that, but because they already understand that work that's been done, the painting, removal of the service and sleeping porch, and painting of the rear elevation required approval, and it did not get approval. And they also understand that the 3-story rear deck is not going to be is not per guidelines and could not be approved. So, and I did discuss with Daryl, not the owner, but with Daryl Allen, that what would be appropriate would be to rebuild what was there. So So maybe we can discuss that just for, they'll have that for the record, because I think we're just going to have to continue it.
Okay.
If you want to wait till, the other applicants are taken care of, however you want to do it.
Let's go through the other applicants because they're here, and then that way they can sign off, and we won't be wasting their time, and there's a chance that Daryl may show up.
Okay.
Let's move on to item 9 then, 1117 Bryden Road.
Okay, so this is also a request for action. One of the questions is to repair and apply smooth parging to the exterior of the front porch masonry foundation and walls. Install a new wood privacy fence in the rear yard. I did receive today a site plan for that, and that's actually a staff approvable item. So I think that's something I would be able to take care of myself. Remove the existing non-original service steps in the front yard and the sidewalk leading to a concrete stoop on the west side of the property, and remove the concrete steps on the north side of the stoop. The existing door at the stoop to be fixed shut. Straighten the curved section of the public sidewalk to make it consistent with adjacent sidewalks. Remove existing shrubs in the front yard, and I did receive some information about that today, that they wanted to remove those shrubs, put some mulch down and some smaller shrubs, and also requesting uplighting, which is not considered to be appropriate for more urban settings. And then to remove the existing second-story sleeping porch, saving pillars for reuse if possible, and you do have those drawings from Julie Bullock that I sent you to rebuild that. And so actually also general repairs and site work have been staff approved, several things. That's on page 10 and 11 of the agenda. The existing front porch masonry foundation and walls appears to be original to the house, so would not recommend that that be covered over or parged. Removal of the non-original sidewalk and service steps appears to be appropriate as they are not part of the historic landscape. And the rear service and sleeping porch is highly deteriorated. The proposed replacement porch appears to meet guidelines, except they're requesting to not have windows. So that's something you'll have to discuss. That's all I have. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there someone presenting this project here this evening?
Yes, Shane Hunt.
Okay, raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this evening? If so, say I do. State your name, your association with the project. Make sure your camera and your mic are on.
I do. Shane Hunt. I'm the new owner of the property.
Okay, I see you now. Good, thank you. Okay, is there anything else you want to add to the presentation?
I mean, are we going to go through it line item by line item, or?
That's up to the commissioners, and if you want to simply be available for questions that they may have, sometimes people want to correct or add to what Connie presented. Waiting for questions, that's fine too.
Yeah, I guess the only thing that the three things I wanted to kind of point out is the set of stairs that we're asking to just we're going to redo all the stairs there because they're just so deteriorated going up to the house. But there's actually 4 sets of stairs that lead up to that property. So the one we're wanting to remove just doesn't look like it was original with the property, and it doesn't go to any functioning door. And it also looks like it leads more to the other property, the property next door, not ours. So that's why we were asking to remove it. And then the parging that I'm speaking of, I drove up and down Bryden Road, and this is the second property that I've done on Bryden Road. There's no like cinder block looking porches anywhere. And the property that we have and the one next door, just on the skirt, the face of the porch is the only two like that. So all we were wanting to do is just put a simple rub on it to where the finish would almost be like the concrete flooring that's in the porch where it's smooth. So it kind of just looks more natural than actual cinder block. That's why we're asking to parge that. It'll really look more, I think, what the committee would want. And then the last one was with the back porch. I also drove up and down Bryden alleys, and there's quite a few porches that I know have been approved in the last year or two where they weren't fully enclosed. And actually, the one we're wanting to build is going to look more functional and keep with the times. So it's still going to be pretty similar to what's there. We just don't want to completely enclose it with windows.
Mm-hmm. On the cinder block, that was a later repair or anything like that, or is it just the look with other homes?
Yeah, I don't have any evidence. If I did, I would absolutely provide it. I just going up and down that road, it doesn't look the same. And then I also did 1438 Brighton about 3 years ago, and that was one of the only stucco only houses on there. And it won't look like stucco, but I know that porch has solid. It doesn't have block. There was block underneath there, and it's been covered up. But it would. I don't want to say it would look like 1438 because it's got that rough stucco look. This one would kind of just be more smooth masonry that we would also paint. And another reason I'd like to do that too is there's some foundation cracks in there, and that'd be the best way to cover those cracks once they're fixed and make it more appeasable from the street.
Okay,
Mr. Chair,
have...
could I just say something? I did wonder
Yes,
too, actually, if that was original, but then I actually realized that it's the entire foundation of the house looks like that. It matches the entire foundation of the house on all sides.
And Connie,
Okay.
just for clarity, that is it's not a cinder block as in what we know as a modern definition. It's just a block foundation that's been cut and profiled, correct?
Yeah, I think it's more of a stamped pattern. I wish we were looking at it with my concrete contractor, and it's really hard to tell if that's actual block or if it's more of the pattern. And I think it may just be the pattern.
Based on the age of this house, though, and there's some really prominent structures that start about here and go eastward.
Okay.
The homes in the 1800 block are rather significant. And it would not surprise me if this is actually just literally cut stone into nominal sizes that's been laid up, as opposed to being any type of precast masonry or anything else. I actually think you have early refined, a little bit more money was spent on this foundation than some other homes. And I think it's worth, not parching it and doing the proper repair of cracks as needed and just mortaring where you need to mortar in issues to repair masonry shifts or other things that are sort of the correct thing to do rather than a parging that sort of annihilates that potential original look. Secondarily, I would actually respond to kind of your comment about porches. The 1800 block has seen, again, a couple 100 feet to your east, has seen a lot of sleeping porch remodels on the south side of the street. I know that have come through this commission since I've been on this commission, and we've been very, making folks meet the guidelines, including put windows back in on a number of them. And, if I have to say your porch drawings look good, but it really needs to be the sleeping porch coming back on the second floor. It's a very character defining feature of a large house like this. And I look at it this way, is with windows up on the upper floor rather than being, open. They can always open all the windows and still get an open air setting. So I'd be more of an advocate of seeing the porch restored with appropriate windows put in on that second floor. Secondarily, for staff, do you feel you have the necessary drawings and details? Julian Bullock has done a pretty good job of just providing elevations, but normally we see profiles and sections through the porches, and it looks like we only basically have an elevation or two and a plan. We don't see any details regarding, gutters, overhangs, how the railings will be built, etc. So just bringing that up as well.
Okay, other commissioners?
This is Stuart Gibney. I agree with Joe. We need more details on this, even though I feel that the architect is a very qualified architect. I feel like we need that for finalization purpose.
And I would also agree with Joe on the sleeping porch in terms of the windows. Know that I'm necessarily wedded to the windows, but something that gives us some indication of the way it would have historically looked. I don't have a solution for what that means, but I don't know if there's a way for us to just have something that really reflects what has been there. Because I think as presented, it doesn't read like a sleeping porch at all. And I think that's where I would struggle.
Yeah. Any other commissioners? I would tend to agree on the sleeping porch, and I think as the foundation, Joseph, you're probably right on that. I guess we're kind of at the point on this. We could break it into like an A and a B type of a thing, or someone could try to put it together into a. Some of this could be approvable tonight. As far as the sleeping porch goes, what's your feeling? Do you feel like that needs to be a continuance on that item? Or do you think we could make that a staff approval if we make it clear in the motion?
I guess it depends what the applicant is willing to consider. You know, when I look at the pictures of the existing sleeping porch, I mean, I see the double hung windows, you know, the 6 of them that were there, and it's pretty easy to measure and produce a drawing. I think that replicates those, and propose windows maybe off even the pre-approved list or something similar along that line, and be able to meet the goals or guidelines. And I think if it's just handrail, gutters, and overhang details, I would be amenable to thinking about those as being a staff approved item, as long as the applicant is willing to follow up with staff to review those detailed drawings yet to come. Lastly, too, I don't know if the applicant's planning any new additional light fixtures or changing of doors. It looks like there's different doors shown maybe on the house on the back of in this elevation drawing. We haven't seen any cut sheets on those, so light fixtures and cut sheets for doors, if those are being replaced as well, have to come yet to staff.
There's two. Do you have both sheets? Because she does have the elevation drawing, and there's a second sheet where she does show cut sheets. So it shows 3 can lights in the top and the bottom on the second page.
I'm just making sure if that's just can lights, it's probably an easy approval, but just making sure that there are no other type of sconce fixtures or wall mounts or anything else like that.
No, we submitted what we were going to put on the existing garage, and those were approved. There's not going to be any of those on here. If the committee is saying, okay, we want windows, then we'll do that. We'll just build them back to exactly the same size and the same materials, because we're going to try to reuse those pillars that are back there, because I do believe those are original with the house. It's so deteriorated on the roof and then the floor, we are going to have to take down the whole porch. So, and I know what Julie had, I thought she drew that in there, but we were going to use the same metal that was originally used through all those houses, because there's not much of a second, kind of like where the awning is, I guess, the skirt for the second floor. That was going to be metal, because that's what is on all the other houses. And then it's just more of a flat rubber roof up there on the top, I believe.
So I was going to ask about that, because I see that your second floor porch roof, it says new metal roof to replace existing metal roof. So my experience on Brighton Road homes has been that they were originally a seamed copper roof, and when they weren't a seamed flat copper roof, there are some examples of highly leaded roofs with a flat seam that's been integrated. But just when you say metal roof, what do you mean by metal roof? Because a standing seam roof would not be appropriate in this district. Although I think, Connie, honestly, most flat roofs in this district have probably been replaced or roofed over with EPDM or similar roofs, which when they're flat, you really can't see it. And the applicant is proposing pretty much a new porch. We want it to last. So I guess I defer to the applicant. What are you proposing for? What is, when you say new metal roof, what do you mean?
So yeah, sorry, we won't be putting like the new seamed gutters or anything. We're going to keep it to the historic value. So this property we are going to sell in April or May, and we're going to try to make it a high-end home. So we're not going to skimp on any materials, and we're going to try to make it as historic. So yeah, Julie and I did talk about using a copper style roof on that. Especially, you will be able to see it on the second floor, basically between the first and second floor. So we're definitely going to use it on that, and then so it'll be to the era metal that was used. It won't be anything new or modern, but it'll have the copper.
Okay, and you're in agreement with altering the design to include windows?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, we just proposed that, but because that whole back south section inside is going to be the new owner's suite for all that. So we just kind of was going to propose an open one in case they wanted to go out there but they can open the windows. So yeah, we'll definitely put windows if that's what you guys would like. And then everything will go back from the wainscoting that's just below the windows. That's the same style. And I think she noted that on there, but if not, yeah, that's exactly what the handrails and stuff will look like on the first floor too.
Okay, great. Is anybody feeling comfortable they can make this into a motion?
Sure, I can take a pass at it.
Yeah.
Can we break this down into pieces? Maybe would that be the best approach here?
Yeah. If you feel comfortable doing it, go ahead.
Okay, so where I would like to maybe first start is let's start with the porch, just because that was obviously the biggest thing we were just on. In the case of HR 20-11-023-1711 Bryden, and we'll call this A as an apple, to approve the sleeping porch as presented this evening by the applicant and their architect, with the following agreed to changes by the applicant, that staff will receive in follow-up full construction drawings for gutters and overhangs to be consistent with historical standards, for construction details on all railings and surrounds and panels and screening and knee panels, again, to be consistent with our standards, and to provide details of the overhang or flat roof sections and the appropriate materials and their cut sheets to be staff approved as well on that rear sleeping porch.
Okay. Is there a second? Okay.
Aaron was on mute, but
yeah. Aaron?
I will second.
Thank you. Okay, so does everybody understand the voting on now? Or is there any questions on it? We'll go ahead and vote. Stuart Gibney?
Yes.
Jackie Barton?
Yes.
Aaron Prosser?
Yes.
Joseph McCabe?
yes.
And Clyde Henry, I also vote yes. That motion carries. And then Joseph, you want to make the part B?
Okay. The part B being, well, I guess I have a question for the applicant prior to making a motion. Are you amenable to not parging the foundation walls and potentially just considering appropriate repairs to your foundation?
Yeah, so the foundation walls, we weren't going to barge. And what you were talking about earlier, I was kind of shocked when I went down there. Those could be blocks on the outside, but I was surprised when I went downstairs. Those are solid concrete poured foundation walls. So even in the middle of the house, so I was kind of shocked for the area because I've never really seen that in those older homes. But those are solid poured cement walls down there. But we were only going to look at smoothing out just the porch skirts on the front. That's all we were going to do. But if we want to keep it as is, we can. We'll try to figure out a way. I mean, they're going to see where the new mortar's put in, just because it won't be completely perfect because of the cracks. But we could definitely fix the foundations the way those are.
So I guess one other thing is, just because you've got some time and you're going to start into some bigger projects here, is this something that, Connie, you'd be able to actually make a field visit on to look at? Just because it sounds like there's some unclarity. I'm not hearing Connie.
Yeah. Connie, for some reason you're still muted. Unmute.
Yeah. I'm not sure what's going on. We're not getting any audio from you, Connie, but you're not muted. You may have to call in if this persists.
It might be her headset.
I'm thinking, yeah. It's plugged in.
Yeah.
Now, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I just got this and I didn't know that pushing that button was turning me off. I said not within the next 28 days, according to the governor. I can't go out and do site visits, really. Unless it's just going to be me looking at it by myself. But,
Joseph,
I would be supportive of the actions of positively moving forward to remove the non-original service steps, but I have concern over parging over something that may be original, or smoothing out something that may be original detailing.
Mr. Hunter, the parging, is that something that you would be doing towards the end of the construction project?
We were actually wanting to do it right now so we can get going and get the exterior going. I mean, it's not going to be the end of the world if we want to keep it how it is. Because they painted over it with like a nasty red color. I don't know if you have any pictures available of how it is now, but we are going to paint it, and we're going to paint it. There's 3 or 4 houses on Bryden Road instead of the antique bronze. It's kind of like the nicer, it's not black, but it's like that nice brownish looking charcoal color. So we were thinking about painting the porch back that, but it's not going to be. I'm sorry.
Are you talking about the masonry that color, or the porch that color?
Not the actual brick of the home, just where they've painted the red.
But are we talking about the foundation, or do you see what I'm saying? Are you talking about the foundation bricks?
We won't be painting those around the house.
No, but you're talking about the foundation.
If that's allowable. I mean, it's been painted now, so I mean, even if we power wash it, it's still going to have a red tint to it.
If surface, we do for that to be painted. Generally, though, the color is more of a concrete color, although you've got a red paint on there. Yeah.
But he could get that color to staff and Connie could approve it, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I already looked at it. I looked at it. It's called Urbane Bronze, and it's a dark charcoal. I think it might be a little darker than we would really approve for painting masonry, but yes, it is. It's been that reddish color at least since 2007. That's the earliest Google photo, so it does need to be painted. I would suggest it be a little bit lighter gray than that, but That's just my opinion.
So,
Because we generally say it should match the color of the natural stone or masonry.
so Connie, is it acceptable right now based on COVID regulations or rulings? You've obviously looked at it. We have a little bit of a lack of pictures, and if the applicant is okay with this, could we actually do a subcommittee where one or two of us could actually on our own individually just go out and see it between now and next month's meeting? And if we go out and see it and we get additional comfort even before the staff, or sorry, our business meeting, maybe it can be staff approved by the business meeting rather than have to wait the full month.
Yes, I think that's good.
Okay.
If anybody's willing to go out and do that, I just would say.
I would be okay stopping by out there within the next week or so and actually just making a quick look at it just to get some comfort on it. If the applicant would be okay with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when you guys go out, if you could, there was a property it's 1828 Bryden, and they have the masonry on their front porch kind of painted the same, and that's where. And then they also had the windows approved. They're kind of the bronze color as well, and then their wood trim is the same. So that's kind of what we were trying to go for, because I always try to pull from a couple houses within a block or two, so that it's, you don't have one house that's completely different no matter what neighborhood we're in. So that's kind of where we came up with that color, and I believe the one they use is almost identical to what we're going to do, so it won't be any darker than that.
And you can see on the foundation on the rear of the building is the same as on the front porch. That's so.
Okay.
Kind of odd.
So get the. I'm not sure how you're going to get this into a motion, because would we then approve a contingent upon staff approval? Would we turn it to staff approval contingent upon your approval, or how do we?
Well, what I would propose is that I would probably put forward a motion next that would just deal with removing the existing service stair, so that could proceed as well. But then I would simply say that the last scope of work here regarding foundation walls and treatment and painting of the porches and those kinds of things would simply wait. And that would be the component that would be, just tabled for a moment. And if we can resolve this during the next business meeting before the next, and move it to a staff approval, we'd move it to a staff approval at that time.
Okay, Mr. Hunter, did you understand that? What he's proposing? We'll do a motion B, which will approve everything else, and then the issue with this would be 2 weeks out. And so at our business meeting, we can move it for a staff approval, and so it would be approved, or provided that that's the motion that we make at that time. But it would get you moving on everything except for the block 2 weeks from now. So
sure, yeah. One last note, just on the paint too. That 1828 Bryden I was referencing, on the porch they painted some of it that antique bronze, and then the bottom where the limestone is, it's still the concrete looking limestone. We're still going to try to make our where the exterior of our house is, where it's kind of looks like the block they painted red. That's what we're going to paint the brown, but they did not paint. They kind of lightly painted the limestone or the concrete that looks like limestone. We're going to try to keep that the original and power wash it to where you get the contrast between the red brick and then what we need to paint. So that'll still be the limestone look. We're not going to paint that, just to kind of clarify.
Okay, thank you. Joseph, you want to try and do this motion then?
Sure. HR-20-11-023B. In this scenario, it would involve removal of the existing non-original service steps, existing door at the stoop being fixed shut, straightening the curve section of public sidewalk, removing the existing shrubs in the front yard for landscape. Supplementally, the applicant understands that landscape plans will be submitted for new plantings yet to be approved. And we've covered, I think, everything else. And installation of the wood privacy fence, the plan and location and details of which, the construction details of which have yet to be submitted to staff for staff approval. And that would be the extent of that motion.
Okay, great. Thank you. Great job. Appreciate it. Do we have a second? That's the easy part.
Second, Stuart Gibney.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the part B of the motion? If not, let's go ahead and vote. Gibney.
Yes.
Jackie Barton.
Yes.
Aaron Prosser.
Yes. Yes.
Joseph McCabe.
Yes.
And Clyde Henry also votes yes. We need to do the continuance on the last part. You want to go ahead and do that?
Yep. Case of HR-20-11-OT3, we will call this portion of work C for 1711 Bryden Road. Move to table front porch repairs and any proposal to apply parging or paint until the next meeting. And if can be further resolved before that during the business meeting, we will take appropriate action for staff approval if warranted, and willing to serve on a subcommittee and go out and take a look at it real quick myself if any other members of the commission would like to do the same.
Okay. Okay. Is there a second on that?
Jackie Barton, second.
Okay. Jackie seconded it. So we have a subcommittee to look at the foundation on 1711 Bryden Road, consisting of Joseph McCabe and no others.
Aaron's raising his hand there.
Yeah, I'm in the neighborhood, so I'm happy to go over.
Okay, subcommittee consisting of two people, Joseph McCabe and Aaron Prosser, and they will report their findings at the business meeting next month. Okay, any other questions, concerns? Then let's go ahead and vote on that part. Joseph McCabe.
Yes.
Aaron Prosser.
Yes. Yes.
Jackie Barton.
Yes.
And Stuart Gibney.
Yes.
And Clyde Henry also votes yes. So that takes care of that. Shane, do you have any questions?
No, I think that clarifies everything. So
okay.
Then I will get a note of everything you want for the drawings, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure. I think I got it all,
Yeah.
but I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
I will send that to you in a letter format.
Okay. Just want to make sure. Thank you, Connie. All right. Thank you, everyone.
And thank you for coming in. And that is going to be a spectacular house.
Yeah, we're going to try to make it as beautiful as possible.
So glad you're doing it right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 10. 764 Kimball Place. Connie, will you present that?
This is a request for action on a new addition. So this would be to demolish the existing second floor sleeping porch above the existing first floor service porch and build a new second floor master bath addition above the existing first floor service porch. The new addition would overhang the first floor to create a covered rear porch. Windows would be Pella Architect from the approved list. Roofing would be JF Slate Line from the approved list. Exterior cladding would be double bevel wood siding, and that siding would also be put on the existing rear bay. That's removing some sort of inappropriate siding that's there. So 3116111 standards for alteration states that the distinguishing characteristics of a property shall not be destroyed, and the removal or alteration of any historic material or distinctive architectural feature shall be avoided whenever possible. And 5 also says that the distinctive stylistic features should be treated with sensitivity. On the other hand, number 9 states that contemporary design for alteration to a property shall not be discouraged when such alteration does not destroy significant historical, architectural, or cultural material, and its design is compatible with the size, scale, color, material, and character of the property, its environment, and surrounding contributing properties. The proposed addition retains the general footprint and scale of the original service sleeping porch, and the proposed materials are appropriate. Recommend approval as submitted. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, and I believe we have a representative of the owner, or the owner this evening, and maybe the architect. If so, raise your hand. Do you swear to tell the truth or testimony for the commission this evening? If so, say I do. State your name, your association with the project, and make sure your camera and mic are on.
This is John Stevens with Sullivan Brook Architects, representing the owner. The owner's here as well. And so, yeah.
Okay.
I do.
Does the owner want to speak this evening also?
I think he's here to listen unless we have any questions that require his input.
Okay, if we have any for him, we'll have to swear him in then separately. Is there anything else you want to add to the presentation?
No, I think that was a pretty complete summary. This project's been a long time coming. We're excited about it, and we do feel like it is utilizing the existing footprint of the service porch, and the program obviously wouldn't have fit up in the existing sleeping porch that they wanted on the second floor. So we utilized the program to also create a covered entry for the service porch. So yeah, other than that, I think we were trying to be as sensitive to the existing house as possible, and look forward to hearing your comments.
Okay, thank you. Commissioners, questions or comments? I've looked at this, and I agree that I think it's appropriate. It's on the back of the house. It's not exactly what was there, but it's similar for the neighborhood, and appears to be appropriate for the house.
Can I ask a question of my fellow commissioners?
Yes.
When we have a proposal before us for a deteriorated sleeping porch where the applicant wants to put in an open porch, and we would like to see something replaced in kind with windows, how do we understand that application differently than this one, where we have someone wanting to demolish a not deteriorated sleeping porch in order to build something that is different completely in visual form, that doesn't even have the same window arrangement?
Which is actually my same
I'm
struggle.
struggling with consistent treatment of applicants. I really think it's important. It's important for historic buildings to be adaptable for modern use. But if we require one applicant to keep a sleeping porch, why are we not requiring another applicant to keep the sleeping porch appearance from the outside?
I could just put my 2 cents in if you want.
Thank you.
Because the way I looked at it was kind of had to do what the applicant was asking to do. The other applicant was asking to sort of rebuild a service porch and sleeping porch. I think if he had asked to demolish the entire thing and submitted an addition, you know, additions can be appropriate. And not, they don't always have to be the size of a sleeping porch and a service porch. Somebody might want to add on a bedroom upstairs and a kitchen downstairs or something like that, and they couldn't do that in the footprint of a service and sleeping porch. So this applicant.
But do we allow? Oh, sorry, Connie, I apologize. Go ahead.
That's kind of all. Really. So I was looking at this as more of an addition.
Yeah, go ahead.
But do we allow demolition of non-deteriorated historic material to allow for an addition on a historic building?
I had assumed that
it's an earnest question. I'm not, you know, like gunning for anybody's bathroom or anything. I just want to make sure we're being consistent.
I had assumed that the living porch was deteriorated and beyond repair.
I don't have any photographic evidence of that.
Do you want to speak to that?
Well, we don't have, I didn't submit any photographic evidence of that, but it is not in great shape. And I mean, it doesn't, the roof actually sits underneath the existing eave and would not allow for, you know, if we want the floor, you know, it's not going to allow for sufficient ceiling height if we extend that shed out and want to insulate the roof. So that was a concern, but it really is not in good shape.
Do we know that this is an original porch? I'm just asking.
I actually have the sort of the same.
I don't know anything.
Looking at these photos a little bit more, as Aaron has raised, you know, what I'm seeing here on this side elevation is a lot of different angles happening, you know, and there is something peculiar here, which is a lot of the original sleeping porches, the eave lines line up and the gutter lines line up. This peculiar scenario has the upper sleeping porch kind of coming up and underneath the soffit or overhang of the main house right there, and that to me doesn't feel like that was an original scenario.
So do we need a little bit of more information before we approve a demolition, given the way we have treated sleeping porches to date? I mean, we have not approved demolition on sleeping porches that were pretty deteriorated in my tenure to date. I just want us to be consistent, and I apologize to the applicant in that I know we really it's harder to put a bathroom into a space that has windows all the way around. It's difficult, but I think consistent treatment is important. And
no, and I on the window rhythm, for a better way to put it, Jack. I don't know what the solution is. I understand the bathroom, but it does feel the window rhythm is odd. The one is so tight in the back of the house. I don't know. It feels like it doesn't really have any nods to the sleeping porch, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think there's a way to do it in a way that doesn't compromise the bathroom, but this doesn't feel like a sleeping porch to me. It feels like, I don't know.
This honestly reminds me of a first floor scenario that just had a tack on second floor added much later. The first floor, when you look at it, really reads like it should, but the second floor doesn't.
Yes.
Just kind of knowing a number of houses of this vintage, it something feels askew or off on that second floor portion only, but the applicant is retaining the entire first floor framing,
Right.
So they are retaining a lot of the original, historic fabric, although the siding is not original on that first floor, and they're going to clad it in something that's a little bit more appropriate. So I actually don't think I struggle with this as much as I'm kind of really thinking about it more.
I mean, I will say that you walk into that and you step down into it, and I believe the floor just follows the slope of how you see the roof being articulated. I mean, it really does seem like it was built on top of an old one-story addition.
But, and I guess I think that because we don't really understand the history, and Connie, I feel like we were in a sleeping porch not that long ago, before pre-COVID, when we could actually go on site visits, that had a similar condition, and we required them to return it. So it was in bad shape. I'm not saying it wasn't. So I don't personally feel like we have enough information on what we should do in this case. We can't do site visits. We can't go into the house like we used to, but.
What additional information would help you deliberate they can provide us?
I would definitely like to understand. Yeah, I think additional photographs. I'd like to understand what portions, what were potentially added. I don't know. I just don't feel like I have any grasp of what this existing condition is.
Knowing it wasn't original would go a long way toward assuaging my heartburn, because I was thinking about that same sleeping porch Aaron just mentioned that we required the homeowners to keep, which I'm sure was an incredibly expensive project for them. But it was an original sleeping porch to that home. And so I would like to know if we're looking at the same thing here, before we approve a demolition to make way for a bathroom on a sleeping porch that seems to be in better shape here from the outside without being able to do a site visit. So again, to me, consistency is important. Process is important as a commission. Where are we? So understanding, is this original? And then understand, if it is, understanding condition. So photographs would be important if it's original. The back of this house has quite a hodgepodge going on in a way, architecturally, over time, right? I don't mean that in terms of, it's a lovely house, but you've got like obviously a couple things added, and then you have the deck, which I sort of wonder, that must have happened before the commission. So, again, not trying to stand in the way of progress for standing in the way's sake, but can we just understand what we're approving before we approve it?
Okay. What I'm hearing from the commissioners is that they would feel more comfortable with some further photographic or other evidence on this. On the other hand, we could go ahead and vote tonight. And however that vote goes, it goes. Or we could continue this. And if we continue it, that would give you opportunity to present more material, some photographs. It looks like they need any evidence that it wasn't an original porch, anything like that. So I guess I'm asking John, what do you want us to do? Do you want us to proceed and vote, or do you want to have us continue this and supply more material?
I guess my question is, are we saying that if we're talking about preserving the sleeping porch, are we beholden to that footprint? I mean, you're basically disallowing the program for the project. Is that what you're saying?
My understanding is this, and commissioners, if I'm not interpreting you right, please let me know. The commissioners seem to be torn on the idea of removing what currently looks like case would likely vote against the application, and therefore that would require then the keeping of the sleeping porch if your application did not pass. On the other hand, we could continue it. If we continue it, that would allow you to present some additional evidence on that sleeping porch wasn't original, or maybe you find out it was, but that they would feel more comfortable voting before. However, if you want to vote tonight, we will.
So I will just also state that, you know, I did do a little bit of just looking at things. You know, Google Earth has made our world possibly different in so many different ways. And I dropped the little Google man onto the alleyway and looked from the alley back on the house. And it looks like there's photos dating back to 2011 and 2007, where it gives you a better view far back. Clearly, there's something not original going on with that upper second floor roof. It's completely there's something, yeah, you know, and you can see that this is likely some kind of this is very like toothpick framed and that's not historically even correct framing.
It really is just individual two bys. Yeah, you're right. There's no sort of corner articulation or, yeah.
But, you know, I think, John, what we're looking for, I don't think we're making a decision. What we have to grapple with is that there's going to be folks coming after you with sleeping porches, there's folks that come before you with sleeping porches, and we have to figure out a way to be a reasonable board about these questions. And my gut would say with Joe that it's not original, but it feels really uncomfortable to make that call right now with information that's within uncertainty.
And it's not the job of our commission for us to figure that out for you during the commission meeting, but rather we need for applicants to show us that the material they're asking to demolish is not original.
I would feel comfortable tabling this until the next meeting, and then if the applicant could submit substantial photo documentation, maybe we can take some form of action at the business meeting in 2 weeks, and that might be more digestible.
Okay, and then that you and/or some measurements would be the framing. If it's modern 2x4, that's pretty obvious. How the roof is framed in. If that's still exposed, I think he mentioned that there wasn't any insulation. The floor, how the floor is tied together, and maybe some details on the outside where the second floor structure goes onto the porch, because it may be laid on top of shingles, may be pretty obvious. Is there any?
My gut hunch is if they take, you know, directional photos from floor to ceiling to walls of what's going on inside that second floor porch, it's going to tell us a lot. If they're willing and able to pop off a piece of siding on that upper outside, if there is some easy thing, I think it's going to show us that maybe even underneath that clearly modern width siding, I think they're just going to find toothpick style framing, you know, possibly. Of course, I can't endorse, and the applicant can do what they want, but I think they could probably easily over document what we're asking for.
Okay, so basically, we want some photographs. We want to feel comfortable that that's a modern addition. John, comfortable if we could do then is at our meeting in 2 weeks, we could move this over to staff approval if we feel comfortable with it. That would save you a little time. Or again, you can always tell us, go ahead and vote, but then you don't know what the outcome is going to be. So are you comfortable with us tabling it?
So the inference being that if we can prove that it's not original, that the balance of the design is approvable.
We can't guarantee how any votes ever turn out, but what you're hearing the commission saying is they would feel more comfortable knowing if that is a later addition, modern addition, or whether it's original to the house. And some of the commissioners are struggling with that point, if I'm paraphrasing right.
I think we just all need to be like, the most difficult question we get asked is demolition of historic fabric. And that's the threshold for me is rather high to make that call. And so what I think we're asking you for is additional evidence that what we're agreeing to demolish is in fact not the historic fabric. And if it is, then we need to really understand the deteriorated condition. Those are the factors that we've applied to every other applicant that's come before us and everyone that's going to come forward. That's charged with is to preserve the historic fabric. So I don't want to take this lightly. I think Jackie the point very well. What you're asking is very high for us. And that threshold has to be documented so that if we move forward with other requests like this, we have the ability to align between what we think is acceptable for historic fabric demolition and what's not.
100% agree with Aaron.
And if it's not a historic sleeping porch, then we aren't asking you to rebuild something historic. So therefore your design is judged by a different standard. We're not then holding it up and saying, well, it doesn't look like a sleeping porch. Well, then that doesn't matter so much anymore.
All right.
So I guess are we able to link Patrick in, the owner?
Is Patrick here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, if so, turn your mic on and your camera on. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this evening? If so, say I do, state your name and
I do. My name is Patrick Sempiel. I'm the owner.
So Pat, I just wanted to confer with you regarding, are we fine with tabling it?
Yes, but I will mention that the porch is just stick and it's not insulated. What you're looking at, which look like windows in the pictures, are actually visqueen put over top of the 2x4s. So it's not even enclosed or insulated. And it's actually open along the bottom, along the 2x4.
Okay, so that means that you should be able to focus pretty easily and to demonstrate that.
Yes. And the floor of the sleeping porch is actually flat roofing material for the porch.
Great. Photograph it.
That would be information.
I just got a crazy question just because we live in this modern world, Patrick. Are you at home right now?
Not in the house, no, I'm next door.
Okay. I was gonna say to you, could you just take a wireless device and go out there and show us real quick?
I could if I don't know how I would do that to the meeting. I could run my phone over there and do that if you can set me up to do it.
That's commission meetings, Joe.
Yeah. Okay, so you are comfortable with us tabling it tonight, and then we could take it up at our business meeting in 2 weeks.
Yes.
That's the direction I think I'm hearing go. So would one of the commissioners want to make a motion to table this?
Jackie Barton, in matter HR 2011-024, motion to continue.
Okay, and we have a second on that. Let's go ahead and if there's no other questions on we'll vote. Stuart Gibney?
Yes.
Jackie Barton?
Yes.
Aaron Prosser?
Yes.
Joseph McCabe?
Yes.
And Clyde Henry also votes yes. So the motion's continued. And so get those photographs over to Connie. She'll get them out to us and we'll try to cover it at the business meeting.
When do we need to have those to you?
As soon as the sooner the better. If you, the meeting's in 2 weeks, so if you can get them in this week, that would be great. 2 weeks on Thursday. So that'd give you a week to get them in between now and next Thursday, and that would be fine, I think. Connie, would that be okay if they got him in the week?
I do have to put everything all together, you know, link everything and all that stuff. So if you can get them to me Monday or Tuesday, that would be the best. If you can do that. I don't know how many applications I'm going to get.
I will get them to you by Tuesday because I will be on holiday. So.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And I guess we'll be seeing you in a couple of weeks.
All right, thank you.
We have a number 11 is a review, but before we do that, let's return to item number 8. Has anybody come in for item 8? Okay, let's go ahead and cover it with it. We can always decide to do a continuance on, but it is 1580 or 1578 and 1580 Bryden Road. Connie, you want to take us through that? Is there a strong feeling we should simply continue it? Or why don't you take us through it and we can decide?
I guess if everyone, so I sort of discussed this one a little bit. Does everyone sort of agree that what I've already told the applicant, that removal of the rear porch, well, again, here's another one, service porch and sleeping porch would not have been probably approved unless we knew that it was deteriorated. The rear of the wall, exterior wall wouldn't likely not have been approved, and that the 3-story deck is not appropriate for this house or this era of building.
I find staff's analysis and comments completely relevant, and I would stand behind those as being consistent with our guidelines.
Okay, and they
also the paint on the bricks is not appropriate.
Right. Okay, and they have seen this, you know, they have the staff report, so I'll just kind of reiterate those comments in a letter. And if you want to continue it.
Okay, I mean, we could vote on it, and but it's but I think everybody's
point.
Yeah, I think everybody's pretty much in agreement with you, with your earlier comments to them. And I guess we need to think about the painting on there as to how to handle that. But if we continue, it gives us a little time to think about it.
Mr. Chair, would you like me to make a motion?
I would love you to make a motion.
In the matter of HR 2010-022, in 1578 to 1580 Bryden Road, make a motion to approve the completed work of demolishing an existing 2-story service and sleeping porch and the painting of the rear exterior wall of the brick house, and also to approve the proposed building of a new 3-story deck with pressure treated lumber.
I thought you were going to continue this.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Well, or we can vote on it, Clyde said. So I just went for it. Sorry.
Would you rather continue it? You can withdraw your motion if you want.
What do you want to do?
I would say just amend your motion.
Yeah.
I amend my motion to continue it.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion to continue this. We have a second. So we're going to go ahead and vote on it. Stuart Gibney?
Yes, please.
Jackie Barton?
Yes.
Aaron Prosser?
Yes.
Joseph McCabe?
Yes.
And Clyde Henry also. So the issue's continued, and Connie will communicate our comments to him, or to them, and And we hope that they submit something that is more appropriate. Okay, so we are down to item 11, which is a conceptual review for 643 Oakwood Avenue.
Okay, and I did have it down as conceptual. That in the very beginning, and then we got some revised drawings, and I meant to change that. They were asking for requesting action, so that will be up to you. I didn't get the material sheet in time to get it to you, but I can tell you a little bit of what I have, but you don't have those details, so that would be an issue. So this is to build a new 2-story frame, single family dwelling on a vacant lot, and cladding to be some cementitious siding, which is what they sent to me, but it was a 70-page long thing, so I couldn't get it to you. Metal gutters. Just don't have that information here. So the following comments from the November 5th HRC business meeting have been conveyed to the applicant. Commissioner Henry noted that the floor plan drawings and the elevation drawings didn't match up, specifically noting window placement, and you did get those revised drawings. Any consistencies must be corrected. Staff noted that a material sheet listing all windows, doors, siding, roofing, etc. is required. They did submit to me that they will use the gelled one sightline windows from the approved list. The general form and materials are appropriate for the neighborhood. Some windows appear too short and wide. Any paired windows should be single units divided by a mullion. Recommend approval with any required modifications and with final drawings and details to be submitted to staff, or continue with final drawings to return to the commission. Conditions: overhangs to be at least 12 inches on all elevations, corner boards to be 1x4, fascia to be 1x6, window and door trim details to be submitted, all siding and trim to be smooth rather than faux grain. That's all I have.
We need a lot more
I think-
information.
Yeah,
I think we have big.
I don't feel like we have a ton of detail to give lots of comment here. I will observe the lot seems narrow.
Do you want to talk? You have someone here that needs to be sworn in.
Yes, of course.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Let me swear the owner in. Is Barry Cummings?
He was here.
See him listed on the side. Does anybody see him here? Well, I
he was,
think
yeah, he was here.
He was.
a lot of us are starting to say the same thing. One, we don't have all the information. Information that came in today or yesterday is hardly appropriate. Continue this and move on, unless somebody else wants to say something else.
I agree. There's just not, I don't know what I'm looking at.
Make a motion.
Do you have any? Do you agree with my my assessment that the windows look a little short and stumpy? Or
Yes, yes.
They're placed funny up against the half timbers. The placement's odd.
It's odd, and I don't understand. Yeah, I agree with Connie. It doesn't. I don't know. Yeah, I think it's frustrating.
Yeah. Suggest to him to look at some houses or, an old plan book or I think the library has some of those old the Historical Society
or American Field Guide to Residential Architecture. Grab one of those.
Yeah, and just get the proportions right. We don't want to design it, and he doesn't have to imitate one exactly, but the proportion.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Other than that, and also you might mention to him that the commission feels he should get his stuff in on time.
Yeah, I already wrote that down.
Okay, somebody want to make a motion to continue this so we can move on?
So moved.
I'll
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, is
Hello?
there further discussion?
What?
Hello?
Actually, I think
I'm
you
hearing
just,
I'm hearing a hello.
Hello,
Oh,
it's Barry Cummings.
he just
okay, I think
rejoined.
you're here. Okay, Barry, turn your camera on and turn your mic on. Well, your mic's on. Turn your camera on. Do you for this evening? If so,
I do.
say I do. State your
I
name
do.
and your association with the project.
Barry Cummings, general contractor and designer.
Okay, turn your camera on because you have to be visible for the official.
Can you see me?
I cannot. Can anybody else?
No.
There we go.
I did
There
turn
you
my
go.
video on.
Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
You're on now.
we can now see you.
Yeah.
We've kind of covered the issues. Connie will be sending you a letter with some of our comments, and it's really important that information get to us in time. We're all volunteer. A lot of these commissioners are hardworking. They work a lot of hours a day, and so stuff has got to be on time so we can space our time out. Stuff that arrives, we just don't have time to look at.
Okay.
We can look at it. We can look at it again at the business in 2 weeks and make some comments at that time, and that'll give you a good feel for it. We currently have a motion on the table to continue it, and so we won't be voting on it this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and call the vote on that unless there's some other discussion, board.
Yeah,
Okay.
and just Clyde, what I would like to offer, at least because the applicant's back here on video, is I think the echoing sort of the comments out there is that there's a lot of consensus that the home proportionally doesn't fit the context of the neighborhood, and we're missing a lot of details yet. It's a very schematic set. The proportions of windows aren't right. There's just things that are not that are just not, are kind of askew. And I don't know if you're working with an architect or a designer, that's your purview. But when you look up and down that street, there are some good examples of other houses around there. You really have to try to fit contextually within the neighborhood right now. And the design presented just really doesn't meet the objectives of being contextually appropriate, I think, for this location at this point. I would add, other commissioners should add additional comments where necessary, but we're just not feeling that it's near where it needs to be at to a level of being appropriate.
There are or drawings of developments that occurred at that time, and if you could just get something like that and use that to put your proportions together, it's sort of a easy way to be able to get a home that fits in the neighborhood. Anyone else?
I would even add, Clyde, he just has to go up and down the street. There are actually a lot of different varieties on the northern end of that block. The southern end of the block has a lot more masonry. You go further north on that block, and there's a lot more homes with siding, various wood sidings and trims. But just read the patterns of windows and trims and shape and form. And there's a lot of options there that you could draw parallels to. Try not to do a buffet of a house, which I call buffet houses have a little bit of everything. Don't, kind of try to pick a style that works or some inspiration from one or two sources. But I think there's a lot there to choose from that you could say contextually. Here are two other examples on the house on the street, and this is what I'm kind of trying to aim for.
Right. It doesn't have to be an exact copy,
Right.
but and it's photograph of them. It's good. I'm glad you're doing food, and that's good. We commend you on that, and look forward to to seeing the final design on it.
I have a 30-second contextual statement.
Okay.
It took here, who is an architect, and my goal was to completely. I've worked with Connie on past projects and compliance. What the project was asking for. Some were successful, some were not. So I'm completely aware of what the ask is as far as materials or whatnot. I felt a little bit rushed to meet this meeting, so that's what you're seeing. So I'll wait on the letter from Connie and respond accordingly, and then I'm sure we'll be successful next meeting.
Great, thank you. The motion on the floor is currently to continue. So I'm going to call the vote, if that's okay with everyone. Stuart Gibney,
Yes.
Jackie Barton,
Yes.
sir,
Yes.
Clyde or Joseph McCabe,
Yes.
and Clyde also votes yes. So the item is continued. And the item 12 on the agenda had been moved to staff approved. So the next item on the agenda, actually got two more items on the agenda.
You do?
Yeah, I'm going to add another item under old business, but let's do the item under old business now, which is 89 Riverview Park Drive.
Thank you all.
Con, you want to take us through that one?
Thank you.
I'm here.
Thanks, Barry. Yeah, so this is for a change in the, wait a minute, let me get my own agenda out here. Okay. See, I put the wrong address on the agenda. It's 89 Riverview Park Drive. And so I think the owner, Christine, did I see a different name on here? Oh, Elizabeth, okay. Okay, it's here, but I'll just introduce it here a little bit. So this is to modify COA number HR 2001006A, which was approved in February by eliminating, oh, wait a minute, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. So I'll just gonna wing this.
Okay.
This is to just change the exterior cladding on this building, on the addition. As you can see by this picture, there's a mix of cladding on the original building. On the side has lap siding there, and then on the rear was shake shingles. And shake shingles was approved for the addition, but board and batten siding was installed rather than the shake shingle that was approved. And so it was not approved in inspection. So what they're requesting, if we can move to the current photo of the addition. Didn't I?
That's the before.
Yeah, that's the before. Didn't I put that one in there?
It's the first
No, it's not.
picture in the packet you gave us, isn't it? Isn't it the?
It's the white edition on the back.
Yeah,
white
it's the
edition on the
very
back,
first.
it's the
There you
Yeah,
go.
that right there. Okay, so that's the siding that was installed. So they're requesting to get this board and batten siding with panels approved as installed.
Okay, I believe
My other questions, by the way, is there's actually some other inconsistencies here too.
Wait, Joseph, hold on. I get the Ms. Price sworn in. Elizabeth Price, are you here?
Yeah.
Okay, I see you now. Do you swear to tell the truth in your testimony before the commission this evening? If so, say I do, and state your name and your association with the project.
I do. Elizabeth Price, homeowner.
Okay. Do you want to add anything to what Connie presented?
I guess I'll just apologize. I didn't realize it when making changes, they needed to be approved. I'd never done this before, but I'd rather just answer your question.
Okay. Joseph, did you have a question?
Yeah, you know, it looks like we have a different door and window configuration as well to the left-hand side
Yes.
of this addition, and that does not match. And the complete, you know, the vertical siding with sort of a wainscoting at the bottom is really just dramatically different from the shape that was originally approved. And then we kind of have these classical, neoclassical reading light fixtures as well. I guess I would like to hear the rationale of why we think, you know, why the owner believes this is sort of appropriate, or from Connie. You know, I'm just struggling with this because it doesn't look like what was presented in many ways.
Yeah. Why change from what was approved according to the building code? Can you tell us that?
It honestly, it was a misunderstanding. I was sort of leaning more towards the way the den looked, like, which is to the right of the kitchen. That's what that is. I didn't understand that when we submitted this and said that we were going to keep with the same, that we were going to do the shingles.
I mean, why didn't you tell your designer what you intended to have before submitting? It doesn't. I'm having a great deal of difficulty understanding a lack of understanding, I guess. Generally, if I do something and then I do. So it's just really strange to me. I don't know if it's strange to other commissioners, but
was the plan
I'm having some
always for this
difficulty.
to be? I apologize, Chairman.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Digital conversation is awkward. I also thought that the siding was to match the existing siding. I don't think that it was meant to be white. And so I think that we have.
Okay, that's my fault. We are. It's basically when they got it finished, we painted white because once you're. This is going to sound strange, but it's easier to go to a color from white than it is to go from a color to white. And we were toying with the idea that I'm eventually going to paint the entire house. And so we wanted to see what it would look like. So we stuck with white, and I liked it. If you need it to change, if you need it to be more the gray blue, that's not a problem.
But I think going back to Clyde's point, like, what was the expectation when we approved something to then not think that was required to be done?
As for expectation, I think, I mean, I did not know that I needed to resubmit the change.
I mean, there's a reason. I understand, but there's a reason we all sit here once a month every evening, and it's a frustrating circumstance. And we did approve something, and the expectation is that's what's.
No, I understand that. I understand
Right.
that. Tell me
Why
what
did
you need me to do to make this right. I don't want to be on the outside with you, and
Right. For me, it would be to build it the way it was approved.
I agree.
You submitted it to us and you said, this is the way I'm building it. We believed you. We said, okay, it looks good. We struggle with these additions to begin with, and we thought this is appropriate. this is in line with the neighborhood. You didn't do that. So, so I don't know how the other commissioners feel.
So for me, I share frustration, and I think especially it's probably a little heightened because we're at the end of a long meeting, and without, but I want to say, the general shape of the addition is the same. I can live without the window next to the door. I do think that the board and batten does not work. It is not appropriate. I think that the addition needs shingles. I think it needs the shake to match the rest of the house. And I think the light fixtures do not, I don't know. I want to hear what the architects have to say, but to me, they feel off for the style of the home. And so there was a much simpler.
I have a question. I have a legitimate question. Is there a proposal which we are reviewing tonight, or are we being asked to understand what are we being asked about this issue?
I think we were asked to approve. We were asked to modify to approve this, and personally, I don't think that the board and batten works. Certainly not.
Like just administrative. Like Connie, can we have? What are we being asked to approve tonight?
Well, I guess I shouldn't have actually put this on. I didn't realize that the commission would have, I should have waited until we discussed it as a group. So I would have gotten your feedback on it and understood all the issues that you see. I was kind of looking at it, I guess I was looking at it too quickly as just a siding change. And, the commission has pointed out that there are other issues here. The question is, they're requesting approval as built. I was thinking of it as approval of just a siding change, but now I realize, there are other things. So I guess you could either vote on it to approve it as it's been built, if that's what the applicant would like, or I guess it's a code violation otherwise, and a new application would need to be submitted with either returning to build it as is, or with a modified drawings.
Yeah, I would personally like to see the owner make a submission as to what they are proposing to do now, so that we can evaluate that proposal or that application, and then we can decide whether it's approvable or not. There's been a lot of issues. I'm hearing some commissioners say, they could probably live without the window. They could, this or that, but I would like to see a drawing as to how they want it to be. If they want it to be this way, then let's see the drawing as an application.
I mean, it seems like it seems like the exact same circumstance we had earlier this evening with the garage and the amendments that property owner made to the structure. And so I would like to see it just go through that, not that regular, and be on the agenda.
It's fair.
And we can look at it at the business meeting.
Yeah, I would agree that this is something we should table as a matter, as well as additionally, I think that the applicant could work with, or the homeowner, I guess in this case, could work with Connie to perhaps propose remedies for us to consider.
I think
I think it's the kind of the wrong path to just sort of say, what does the commission want to see? I'll do it. The commission sort of would like to see what was already promised, I think, is the frustration. So I think we'd like to see a documentation path and an actual submittal.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we have had people that were doing a small sign in a window, and they've come back and they've gotten that changed. We see a multi-million-dollar project, and they come back with very small changes, and far less dramatic than this, and they make application on them. So again, consistency has been brought up a lot this evening, and appropriately so. So I think that we need to follow that. So someone want to make a motion to continue then?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I will call the vote. Joseph McCabe,
Yes.
Aaron Prosser,
Yes.
Jackie Barton,
Yes.
Stuart Gibney.
Yes.
Okay, and Ms. Price, I hope you kind of understand what you need to do. You need to make a new application so that when we see what you are applying for, then it will be done how it's approved. That new application may or may not be the same as the original one. You could submit exactly what you've shown us tonight as an application. You could submit something that has the shake siding on, but a different windows that are different from the original application. Whatever it is you submit is what we're going to look at, we're going to vote on, and then this time we would expect that it would then be built that way.
Yes, sir.
And we have a business meeting that we'll be looking at it. We generally at the business meeting we give feedback on it, and so you'd have some idea at that time what some of the commissioners are saying. Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. The second item on old business I asked to add tonight is that I think we need to give some clear guideline to staff as to when paperwork from applicants need to be, because like today, stuff arrived today, I think, or yesterday, and I know Connie's tried very hard to get us the stuff right away, but I think we need to, as commissioners, say very clearly, if they don't get it in by such and such, the commissioners aren't going to look at it. And so it can be kind of a clear understanding when we're willing to look at stuff and when we're no longer willing to look at stuff.
Chair Henry, I generally think that a lot of this is covered during the business meeting. That is the benefit of having those meetings, as staff is able to explain to us the benefits, the issues with those applications. I think that because those occur now 2 weeks before this meeting, that if an applicant can't timely respond with something within, say, a week, and that further allows a week for both staff and us to digest any changes, then it should be just deferred to the next month's meeting.
I was
Okay.
gonna say a week. I was gonna say 1 week. So same.
Okay.
So would that be Thursday? Would that be Thursday or Friday? Or they get it to me on Thursday, I get it to you on Friday? Or
That would be fine.
I think it should be Wednesday and Thursday. Just keep it consistent.
Okay.
Wednesday.
And then that way we get the stuff Thursday, which gives us a week.
Right. I always try to get it to you before the weekend, but I haven't even been getting my staff reports done by then sometimes. So.
Okay. So basically, sure.
I'm sorry. I know it's long, it's late, but this actually relates to this. I want to say that I know what it's like to be staff in a big organization. And Connie, I know that part of what you're doing is responding to the pressure you feel from the people you serve. And I commend that. But I also want to say that, these agendas are long, and we're all here late. The people waiting to get their agenda items heard are here late because the agendas are long. And I'll be honest, after 2 hours, it's hard to focus. I'm just being real. So, I think that this is partially about just expecting a certain amount of engagement from people in order for them to be on the agenda, out of respect for everybody that's here, including the other people who got their time. And so I just say that to offer you some space as someone who's trying to just, get everybody on the agenda and be responsive to them. This is us saying, if you don't get your stuff in until 2 days before the meeting, you're just gonna have to wait until next time because we're just cramming these agendas full.
I have no problem with it saying case numbers 1, 3, 5, and 7 did not respond to you timely, so we will just group batch motion to table from now on so that you can keep focused on the applicants that do respond promptly and give you full packages.
Okay.
That's
Actually,
an
this
excellent idea.
Yeah, and kind of you can tell us we're like the meanest commission. We have serious. We're real. Yeah,
They
we're
know
real
that.
sticklers.
They know that already, but
Probably.
actually, this gives me a chance to actually write up something and say, you know, at a certain point, put it in an email saying, you know, saying whatever this is going to say, so it's down on you know in black and white that they know if this is going to be continued. If you don't have, if this is going to be considered an incomplete application and will not be heard unless it's received by this time or whatever. So after the business meeting, or no, I mean I was going to ask about like now after since the application deadlines are now the day after the hearing, what we generally say is we give them a week to get things in. So I guess that would still need to be that. I mean, it really doesn't give people much time at all if they need to redo drawings. But then would that they'd still need to get that to me by Wednesday, so I get it to you by Thursday, or could we change that to Friday to give them a week? Like for example, Barry Cummings, he needs to really do a lot of work on the drawings. He might not be ready for next month. I don't know, but does he need to get that stuff to me by Wednesday, or would this Thursday be okay?
He has a month from now before the next hearing.
Can I just ask a clarification question? I thought
no, the deadline is tomorrow now.
Connie,
the deadline's tomorrow.
The deadline's tomorrow for you, but I think what I heard and what I understood is when we go to the business meeting and we have folks that want to respond with greater detail, that we're talking about the Wednesday, the week prior to the hearing.
Right.
Yes, we're talking about 1 week. Yes, we're talking about we're cutting their last call. We're talking about the last call, Connie. Let's
Okay.
use Clyde gets bar language. Last call. Last call for your materials, if you're going to make it to the hearing, is 1 week before the public hearing. And if you can't get your revised materials done in that amount of time, the commissioners cannot hear your case.
Right,
Because
but they have to get revised.
Yeah.
They have to get revised materials to me within a week.
Right.
But then they could revise them again after the business meeting.
Yes. Yeah. I'm comfortable with that. It has to be with, and I think Stuart's point, they have to, if we have the business meeting Thursday, they have till the following Wednesday to get them to you. And then you have time to turn them back around to us to give us enough time to review.
Okay.
I look at it this way is you know, I've actually been very cooperative and fairly lax considering other commissions I know. You know, German Village Commission won't hear something without every little detail determined on a drawing. I think we're very, 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 you know, lenient on some of the things, unfortunately. But I also encourage staff to really look at an application and you know, at times, you know, you may have to realistically discourage an applicant and say, if you proceed forward, you run the risk of having this rejected for being an incomplete package.
Right.
Because we do get you know, some very well put together packages that are very easy to look at, and then we get some packages that are drawn on the back of a napkin that are just not
right.
And it costs them a month either way, right? I mean, either way, it's cost them a month. So, you know, I think counsel on that and your advice to them would be probably very helpful in the long run.
I would actually like to say that I would like us to, I'm not saying we should become like German Village, but I would like us to become a little more stringent about not spending time on packages that don't get to a level where we can review them. I've seen us spend time chatting about packages that didn't get us more after we said we needed more. And I don't know what we need to do to move past that, whether it gets to Joe's point about just batch continuing things. You know, we asked for things, they didn't get us something within a week before the hearing, and we just move on because again, it feels like our agendas are regularly busy and we have long meetings. And so I don't want to spend time talking and talking about something and then ending up the conversation saying, well, we don't have enough information on this one. So like, why did we talk about it?
I like Joseph's idea that if the package isn't complete, immediately package appears to be incomplete, I move to continue, and we just move on.
Go.
I mean, when the word gets out on that, complete packages, one of the reasons why some of us wanted to bring this up tonight was because it gives you, Connie, cover in that you can say the commissioners won't accept it at this point. So if someone tries to get something to you 3 days ahead of time, you can say the commissioners won't accept it. It's us. It's all on us. If they want to call and yell at somebody, you can yell at me.
That's okay. I mean, I don't really care if they, have issues with me either, but I do like having that specific, like I said, I'm just going to write something up, a couple sentences that I'll give them ahead of time so that they know, like even when they're submitting an application or whatever, that they need to get it in and be complete.
Good. Have we covered this?
And hopefully soon I won't be staffing 2 commissions on the same day twice a month.
Oh, please. Okay, I think it's pretty clear where we stand on this. There's no new business that I know of unless somebody has something. Otherwise, then I get for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, Aaron made the motion. Jackie seconded it. I'll do the roll. Stuart?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Aaron?
Yes.
And I also vote to adjourn. Good seeing you all. Can't wait till we can meet in person. Good night.
Happy Thanksgiving.